Hello viewers, happy Halloween and welcome back to another spooky showdown. Today we are doing something a little different. We're going to take a look at two zombie viruses and compare them to find out which one is deadlier. Now if you are even remotely familiar with me, you'll probably know that I absolutely love zombies. I adore the concept, and two of my favorite pieces of zombie media are 28 Days Later and The Walking Dead, at least the good seasons. So I thought I might as well try something a little different while talking about my two favorite zombie plagues. But without further ado, let's see which zombie virus is deadlier. Like many things, the rage virus originates from a scientific experiment gone terribly wrong. A couple scientists wanted to make a cure for anger issues, and one of them decided it would be a good idea to mix this inhibitor with Ebola so that it could spread more effectively. The other scientist is disgusted by this idea, so he leaves the project. He also contacts an animal rights group and informs them of captive chimpanzees that were being used as test subjects for the inhibitor. And then he killed himself. Animal rights activists broke into the laboratory with the intention of freeing the chimps. The scientist was there during the break-in and tried warning them not to open the cages, but they didn't listen to him and freed the chimps anyway. Yeah, so remember how this inhibitor was meant to make people more calm and mellow and chill, less angry? Well, turns out you probably shouldn't mutate your inhibitor and attach it to Ebola, because that apparently makes it do the complete opposite of what you wanted it to do. The rage virus fills you with an uncontrollable rage and instinctual desire to kill or infect every uninfected creature you can find. So basically, the infected aren't traditional zombies, they're not undead, they're living infected people. The infected have no care for self-preservation, no care for self-sustenance, and they seemingly have all normal bodily limitations turned off. They have ridiculous levels of stamina, and they seem to be using every bit of strength a human can muster when beating you to death or biting into your flesh. And yes, rage-infected can run, and I don't mean go for a light jog. Those guys can sprint. The infection can be transmitted through bites, scratches, and blood spatter. If infected blood makes it into your system, you'll turn momentarily. The infection usually takes hold in about 10 to 20 seconds. Even a single drop of blood can cause you to turn quickly. And 28 days later, it took about 28 days for the rage virus to cause the complete collapse of society in Britain. I mean, you know, it's in the name. Now for weaknesses. The rage virus can move fast, and so can its infected. But the problem is these guys are just humans. Stay alive for long enough and eventually they'll die of dehydration or starvation, since they have no self-preservation instinct. This is also a huge factor considering these infected will be using up lots of energy constantly if they're always wandering around or sprinting after people. They're also going to be fairly easy to kill for an actual competent military. I mean, unlike traditional undead zombies, the rage infected can be killed or hindered by any shot to the body. Again, they're just people. But even with all these weaknesses, I still wouldn't want to come face to face with a rage infected. The outbreak itself would still take a heavy toll on civilization. But would it take a heavy enough toll to outperform The Walking Dead's wildfire virus? The wildfire virus came from France, I guess. Yeah, that's basically all we know about its origin, as far as I can tell. Damn French people. The wildfire virus in The Walking Dead is a bit more like your traditional zombie virus. It doesn't raise corpses from their graves, but it does bring people back from the dead. The wildfire virus started out quickly, spreading all throughout the world until it had a satisfactory number of hosts ready for reanimation. The virus kills you, and then brings you back from the dead. So imagine that. People all over the world die, and then they suddenly reanimate as walking corpses that want to do nothing but bite you and tear you apart. The turning process after death can vary greatly. The shortest recorded turning time was 3 minutes, while the longest was 8 hours. The zombies themselves, otherwise known as walkers, are your classic slow shamblers. Their movement speed is slow, but their strength is genuinely superhuman for no reason at all. Walkers casually tear away at flesh and innards when feasting on their latest victim. Walkers have been seen breaking through wooden doors, pulling people through holes so hard that their necks completely snap backward. When it comes to durability, walkers are immune to any and all attacks unless the attacks are aimed at the head. If you impale their skulls or shoot them in the noggin, they'll fall over. But if you shoot them in the chest, nope, they'll tank that. Want to cut their legs off? Oh, they'll just crawl after you now. The point is, they're pretty resilient. Like the Rage Infected, the walkers seem to have no desire for self-preservation. They're just a sea of bodies, and they intend to use their numbers to get what they want, that being a fleshy meal. These guys obviously won't have to worry about starvation or dehydration since they're already dead, but one thing they would realistically have to worry about is decomposition. Now, to be fair, in the show itself, the walkers don't really seem to decompose. Somehow they're all still functional after so much time. But realistically, they would be at a major disadvantage in both hot and cold climates. They'd either freeze up or just decompose quicker. It's also probably worth mentioning that walkers are surprisingly stealthy when the plot demands it. Either way, I think it's about time I reach a verdict. So, which of these two viruses is more dangerous? Like, which one would cripple society faster, kill the most people, etc, etc? The answer is wildfire, and it's not even close. I know I'm gonna get some sweaty nerds in my comments explaining how running zombies are actually more dangerous than slow zombies, but just shut your yap hole and use your brains with me for a second. Come on, guys. We need to remember that the Rage virus never even made it off of the British Isles. I mean, maybe it did at the end of 28 Weeks Later, but the canonicity of that Paris scene is really iffy now thanks to 28 years later. And even if it is canon, it was very clearly repelled and the infected were pushed back to the Isles. The Rage virus in its own universe has been successfully contained to the British Isles. The Rage infected are also genuinely just worse and realistically more pathetic than any shuffling zombie. I don't care. These Rage infected are literally burning through all their energy while still being human, meaning they have limited energy to spare. They don't eat or drink. They are killing themselves of exhaustion, thirst, and hunger. They're also more vulnerable than walkers, able to be killed or wounded more easily. Meanwhile, let's look at walkers. Each walker has superhuman strength. The only way to kill them is getting a headshot. The wildfire virus is everywhere, literally everywhere. In The Walking Dead, we learned that everyone on Earth is infected and carrying the virus. So whenever you die, regardless of whether or not you were killed by a walker, you will turn and join the ranks of the undead. Wildfire also just has a blatant advantage. The Rage virus started in one spot and had to spread out from there. Wildfire literally started out all over the place and took the world of The Walking Dead by complete surprise. Walkers are hard to kill. They start everywhere. They're stronger. Anyone who dies becomes one no matter what, and they'll take longer to die off and decompose, if they even decompose at all, that is. On an individual level, the Rage infected are scarier and more dangerous. They're faster and more violently aggressive and animalistic. But in the long game, on a large scale, the wildfire virus is just better. It's more dangerous. Therefore, wildfire is crowned as our winner of today's spooky Halloween matchup. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments. I always read those. Do you like stuff like this? Do you want to watch more spooky content just like this? Well, I've got 2 other zombie videos on the channel, plus my most recent Halloween week matchup from Wednesday. It was Michael Myers versus Springtrap, so you should go check that out if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to join the Discord. I'm going to try and start game and movie nights pretty soon here, so come on in and hang out with me. With all that being said, have a happy Halloween, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.